Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and this time we've got the pleasure of watching WinnerTaco playing in the original Tier 10 German tank destroyer, the Jagdpanzer E-100. Now, this video is going to show that sometimes the original is the best, right? There have been a hell of a lot of these Guerrilla 15s all over the matchmaker. And talk about matchmaking, a 27%er at Tier 10. Gosh, WinnerTaco will be cursing the RNG gods of being in this kind of a matchup. So of course, the Guerrilla 15 is bombing it around, going super fast, accurately putting in 750 alpha damage quite reliably with good shell velocity, very good aim time, and rather decent accuracy as well. But sometimes 150 millimeters of main armament is not enough, right? And you want to have the 170 millimeters that the Jagdpanzer E-100 has with its 1050 alpha damage. Now, in this kind of a game, you know you're going to have a real positive role. There's a lot of very skilled players on the enemy team, and again, the vast majority of the enemy tanks are Tier 10. What is that Guerrilla 15 doing up there? Just to talk about WinnerTaco's name here, I did a little bit of research, and I think WinnerTaco is in an Italian clan. And the WinnerTaco is apparently an ice cream that was first introduced to Europe for Italy and Sweden in 2000. It's the equivalent of a Choco Taco, I think, from America, although I've never heard of it before until I did a bit of looking around. Anyway, it was there for 2 years, didn't do very well, taken away from the Swedes and the Italians, but apparently a couple of years ago it made a bit of a comeback in Italy only, and so that's, I guess, where WinnerTaco has got his name from. And he's firing taco-sized shells at his opponents here. 1097 damage done to that Batchat. That's a very valuable hit into a rather dangerous Tier 10 French medium tank. So that's all you need to do in the Jagdpanzer E-100 to do 2207 damage. So he's done more than his hit points, right? But he's going to have to do a hell of a lot more than that. So WinnerTaco decides that with his team basically camping here, they look like they're going to be safe, right? He can go and leave them. They should be alright. He has a quick look and starts to wonder immediately whether his team are going to be alright. And he figures out, gosh, the enemy are advancing quite aggressively along the south. And I think he wants to have the opportunity to hold this flank to stop them from flanking him, and it's very important to prevent people from getting your side and your rear in the Jagdpanzer E-100, as all of the vehicle's armor and 200 millimeters of frontal armor is invested in the front of the tank. Now the side armor is not too bad, but the rear armor is something awful really, considering how flat it is. But then again, if you can angle it, you can still pull off some miracle bounces. So unfortunately for another big fat German tank, the mouse falls to an Object 140, getting support from an IS-7 on the enemy team. But Object 140, 52% health. Oh gosh! I thought that was going to be a one-shot, but doesn't quite roll high enough. His first low roll of the game, 918 damage, but luckily the Object 140 only puts a round into his tracks, and it looks like WinnerTaco has a few friends in the form of the T-57 Heavy and the STA-2 that managed to finish him off. He lightly shunts the new German Tier 10 tank destroyer out the way and goes to town on its predecessor, the WT Panzer IV. Unable to get a shot into him, he blows the head clean off that T10. That poor Soviet Tier 9 Heavy. Don't think he's feeling too well about himself anymore. Right, hey guys? So, WinnerTaco, having now picked up his first kill and 4,000 damage into this game with the 4 shots that he has put out. A great result for any Jagdpanzer E-100. But unfortunately, it looks like the northeast has just completely fallen. And I guess WinnerTaco thought that he would be completely fine there, but indeed, his team was not. One thing that's interesting here is that he bounces the shell from the IS-7, but we see a premium round from the WT Panzer IV go right through his superstructure on his upper armor. Those APCR rounds from that 128mm gun from the Tier 9 German tank destroyer do have 352mm of penetration, I believe, and that was more than enough to get through even the mighty superstructure of this vehicle. So he takes out the T-54 Mod 1, that's a very pesky tank that would annoy him, and luckily the STA-2 finds that Batchat that he left on a whisker of his health earlier on and shuts him down. Now, this is a very important moment. WinnerTaco is loading a high explosive round, 170mm high explosive round, 1,400 average damage, but only 85mm of penetration. But fair enough, the new Guerrilla 15 might have all the mobility, but it has none of the armor of the Jagdpanzer E-100, and so that means that if he can manage to hit the gun shield or pretty much anywhere on the hull of the armor, he should be able to remove the 65% of the hit points that Tier 10 German tank destroyer has left. Come on, come on, come on. Headshot right in. 1,162 damage done. And that is not even a high roll. That is... he could have pretty much taken out at least 80% of that vehicle's health there. I have to admit, the high explosive rounds on this tank are absolutely awesome for digging out tanks in well dug in locations. So he goes round the corner, puts one into the WTF Panzer IV, angles his armor perfectly, but it's not really going to work when that Tier 9 German tank destroyer is firing APCR rounds, 352mm of penetration going right through his lower plate, but luckily the T-57 Heavy finishes him off. Now, he's loading an AP round here. I guess that's because he doesn't know if the T-57 Heavy or the Object 140 will come after him. But in retrospect, he would have done far better firing high explosive rounds in this situation to take out these two lightly armored German tank destroyers. And there you go. Slightly lower than average roll, but he would have had to roll really high to be able to take out that Borsig there. 1,016 damage, though, is still nothing to be sniffed at. And just over 6 minutes into this game, WinnerTaco has pulled off 8,779 damage. There's no doubt that this T-57 Heavy is helping him out quite a lot, and I expect he wants to help look after him in this situation. I don't think that Object 140 was quite prepared for that. I have no idea why he didn't finish off the T-57 Heavy. Maybe there was a little bit of a building in the way. Maybe this building was blocking his vision of the T-57 Heavy, who he clearly wanted to finish off. And talking about being finished off, unfortunately the Borsig gets that T-57 Heavy out the game, meaning that WinnerTaco now has to deal with a Borsig that's on very low hit points, but also a T-57 Heavy on the enemy team, who, as far as we can tell, is still on 100% of his hit points. 2,250 health there on that Tier 10 American auto-loading heavy tank. So 9,757 damage. Does the Borsig have enough to get over 10k here? He doesn't really want to take a shell from the Borsig because he might need that health against the American auto-loader. Great result. Puts the round in, finishes off that poor little baby tank that all he wants to do is to grow up one day to be a griller. There is the T-57 Heavy, and indeed he is on 100% of his hit points. How is he going to get through this situation? He needs to put a big hit in as the T-57 Heavy is advancing, and then try and control the range of engagement. He fires a shot. Oh, disaster! Tries to loop one underneath that dead vehicle, but unfortunately it misses. And the T-57 Heavy is not a muppet. He knows this vehicle has a long reload, and he is going to try to advance to make use of that. The T-57 Heavy right now has to close the range of engagement and either shoot the lower plate or get the side of the Jagdpanzer E-100, but WinnerTaco is controlling the pace here. He puts a good shot into the T-57 Heavy, and now he's got to just try his best to avoid him from getting his side. The T-57 Heavy, on the other hand, wants to try and get his side. Looks like he has to make sure that he doesn't drive off the edge. Bounces one. Bounces two! Oh my gosh. He might not have the damage now to be able to take out WinnerTaco. Oh, come on, low roll. Oh, it's another bounce. Oh, this is just brilliant. Now the T-57 Heavy is reloading. Oh, WinnerTaco. Oh, don't do it. Yes, please. How about that, you autoloader? Oh, that has to make every single tank destroyer player out there feel absolutely awesome. The WinnerTaco puts 2 rounds into the T-57 Heavy and secures his top gun by drowning the enemy autoloader. So what an end to an incredible round of World of Tanks as WinnerTaco consigns his final opponent to Davy Jones's locker, picking up nearly 12,000 damage in a 9-minute game. WinnerTaco pretty much showed exactly how to play the original Tier 10 German tank destroyer here, carrying his team on his back for pretty much the duration. And a big shout as well to Ed Monster in the T-57 Heavy on his team, as they were able to take out 2/3 of the enemy between them. It's almost a shame that WinnerTaco only gets 2 Battle Hero medals here, the high caliber, and boy what a high caliber this was. 11,800 damage, over 4 times what anyone else on his team was able to do. And also a top gun for picking up his 6th kill at the end there on the T-57 Heavy, who up until that point looks like he was having a great game with 3,500 damage done. But there can only be one winner, and in this case it was a Taco, who also managed to pick up 55,000 1,000 credits profit. Do you know what, WinnerTaco, thank you so much for submitting this on the replays.QuickyBaby.com website. I thoroughly enjoyed it. You played this tank flawlessly, and as of yet, this is the most damage anyone has been able to do in patch 9.15, and there have been a lot of Gorilla 15 replays uploaded. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving it a like down below. It really helps the channel out. And if this video has sparked your interest in some more awesome Jagdpanzer E-100 gameplay, then simply click through up here or use that more info icon in the top right hand corner of your screen to see a plethora of other replays and what happens when two Jagdpanzer E-100s make unexpected friends. And let me know in the comments down below how you feel the Jagdpanzer E-100 holds up now that the Gorilla 15 is in the game. Obviously two completely different tanks for two different purposes, but could you claim that one was overall the winner? And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.